Hello everyone, Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're gonna do my top 10 Metroidvanias, second edition for the Nintendo Switch. Now this is a pretty difficult list to make, and after replaying most of these games through, I came to the conclusion that a lot of these belong on that first list. So, this is more of a comparison or parallel to that list rather than the definitive list. Well, let's jump right in now, starting with number 10. Dead or School. Well, let's start out right away with saying, even though this is at the bottom of the list, it does not mean it's a bad game by any way, shape, or form. I actually have quite a few other Metroidvanias below this top 10 list. So, this game has some amazing combat, some really fun upgrades, and a cool character and a great story. The only issue I have with it is the Metroidvania elements of this game are pretty weak sauce. The map kinda sucks and the secrets aren't necessarily well hidden. The other, I guess, negative thing I can say about this is that the animations are kinda clunky and a little stilted, and it makes the collision detection a little off. But these things don't bother me, and the game was still a blast to play, and as you can tell here, the combat in it is super fun. Having a lot of different options with melee, and different guns and different bazookas and all kinds of different things you can do really extends what this game's all about, and it really plays into all the fun aspects of it. Now, one really positive thing I want to say about this game is that the RPG elements in it are a blast. Being able to go and level up your character when you're too weak for a boss fight just to power your way through it, and to see the different story elements and how they fit together as you play through, make this game move through without you really noticing all the stuff that you're missing. Gives you a reason to go back. Let's do number 9 now, Dust, an Elysian Tale. We're gonna start off with a sample of the voice acting.
Yes, very nasty. We should go around, I think.
There's no time to find another route. Those monsters came up through here. There's gotta be a path down below. Well, here goes nothing.
Well, as you can kinda tell, the story elements of this game are definitely the strongest parts. The voice acting is fantastic, and the whole game was made by one guy from what I understand. All the different elements of sound effect and music and voice quality all fit together to give you a really fun and unique experience. The reason this guy is at number 9 though, is because the map is really weak in this game. The map just literally is a box to a box. It does not give you hardly any information about the room, and it causes you to go back and backtrack constantly. In a game that's narrative driven and always moving forward, makes it kind of feel out of place. That being said though, if you play the game from front to back and don't worry about all the stuff you missed, you'll really enjoy yourself. Because the game does have a good story and it flows well. There's nothing that holds you back and keeps you from enjoying it. You can go from point A to point B. Yes, there are a lot of secrets and a lot of reason to go explore, but none of them require you to do anything. So let's do number 8 now, Axiom Verge 2. Well, as you can tell, the soundtrack in this game is outstanding. This game has some awesome music. Once again, it was created by one guy named Thomas Happ. This guy is talented. Axiom Verge 1 still ranks higher than it to me, because it's a lot funner game, and you can tell that it definitely took him a lot longer to play with all the mechanics. Axiom Verge 2 is a really good game, and it's a worthy sequel, but it is a sequel nonetheless. With that out of the way, let's talk about the great aspects of this game. And there are some really fun and unique things, such as the addition of a new world and a couple new areas to explore within this world, let's put it that way. The game also has some pretty cool new mechanics, but it lost all of the guns that made the first one unique. It's very simple on your weapon selection, which kinda holds it back. It doesn't give it as much. It's definitely more based on your unique abilities and what you can do now in this world. That being said, the world is a lot bigger and a lot more unique. There's a lot more areas to explore and a lot more going on. If you enjoy these kind of games, Axiom Verge 2 is definitely worth your money and your time, and you better pick it up before it becomes too expensive being a limited run. So let's do number 7 now, Guacamelee 1-2 Punch Collection.
Turbo Championship Edition.
So this collection contains both Guacamelee 1 and Guacamelee 2. Personally, I'm kind of a fan of Guacamelee 1 a little bit more. I enjoyed the story to it a little bit more, but you do get some new abilities and enhancements in Guacamelee 2 that make it just as fun. Now let's get this right out of the way right off the bat. The coolest part about this game is that it's a 4-player simultaneous RPG Metroidvania. Yes, you heard me. It can basically turn into an arcade game that gets absolutely fun and frenetic. If you got a lot of people to enjoy a game with, this is a fun party game and surprisingly intriguing. It will keep you going. You'll want to see what happens next, and the people playing with you will help you out. Let's talk about the main character himself though. And the main character is pretty darn awesome. He's a luchador, essentially a Mexican wrestler, and he's tasked with saving the world from an evil sorcerer who essentially has controlled time. Your goal is to go through and defeat all of his generals and then come to him and defeat him. What's really cool is you learn to go and control time yourself and go back and forth through time to manipulate these puzzles and solve the world, eventually leading you to your ultimate nemesis, and destroying him. So let's do number 6 now. 8 Doors, Aram's Afterlife Adventure. This game kind of popped up on me out of nowhere. I really didn't know anything about this, and I saw it at GameStop just sitting on the shelf. Nobody in the store knew anything about it, and I couldn't really find any reviews online. There was virtually nothing on Metacritic at the time. So, after digging into it and figuring out that it was a Metroidvania, I decided it was worth my money, and I put it down. Now, it took me a while to get into this game and actually play it a bit, because it has kind of a slow beginning to it, but once you start getting some good abilities, you realize that there's a lot of Dark Souls-y type abilities to this game that will keep you hooked, a lot of one-offs that make you want to keep going and try that one area one last time. At first, I thought the game was kind of unfair, but once I began to understand how the collision detection and everything worked, I realized the game actually is very fair and has a really good system for everything that it offers. There was a good amount of testing that went into this game, and it's not very glitchy or anything like that. I had a very stable frame rate and a very fun experience. The map is a little but I mean, it's not the end of the world considering how fun all the other elements are to this game. You have multiple different weapons and abilities to do things, and the world is very big and expansive. At any point, you can go back and check stuff out. So let's check out number 5 now, Curse of the Sea Rats, and I have a special guest with me on this one, Froggo14. Well, Froggo, give us a few thoughts. Tell us what you thought of this.
I really enjoy playing this game. I really enjoy my character. I love the sea shanties in it, and this is very fun to play with my dad.
It wasn't too much of a mess for us, was it?
No.
We had a lot of fun, didn't we?
Yep.
Well, thanks for all your help, Froggo.
Sayonara.
Well, very much the way that Guacamelee is, this is a 4-player game as well. It has a lot of RPG elements and a really good map and menu system. The game ends up being a lot more fun, in my opinion, in a multiplayer than Guacamelee because it's not quite as chaotic. There's not as much going on, and the RPG elements can help other people who aren't as good as others catch up and play well and keep up with them just through upgrading their character. Each character also has a really unique system of upgrading themselves so you can identify them as your own personal. Me and my daughter have both done that with our favorites. Well, the last thing I want to show off on this game is one of the sea shanties, and I absolutely loved it. So did my daughter. These are some of the coolest parts of this entire game. Number 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Now, I already did Ori and the Blind Forest in my first Metroidvania, and I went back and played a lot more of this one for this video, and once again my opinion kinda stands the same. I like the story to Ori and the Blind Forest a bit more, but the abilities and the movement on this game are top notch. As you can see in this little sequence right here, There is so much fun platforming to this game, so many cool elements of traversal, The game just lets you have fun with the world, and there's elements everywhere to doing all of this. On top of that, Ori controls fantastically. His movement's a little floaty, but once you get used to it, you really learn how to manipulate him properly. The only time this really affected me in a bad way was when I was in combat, because I did find myself pushing into enemies when I didn't mean to, or not landing properly when I was trying to jump or dodge something. But other than that, the rest of the movement in this game is really fun and unique. The game has beautiful art, as you can see, and a very stable frame rate. The performance on this is top notch. Microsoft did not spare any expense, and there's a reason that some of their games are doing so well on the Switch. They care. So let's move on now to number 3, and this is a fan favorite, Blasphemous. Now, I know a lot of people wanted this as number 1 or 2. And I'll admit, this game is a great game that's really, really fun. But for me, one of my favorite elements in all of Metroidvanias, and this is stupid to say, but I'm gonna say it, is the double jump ability. It literally has saved my life so many times in so many games because I am so clumsy around ledges. I need that double jump to rescue me. This game does not have a double jump, and that right there makes it 10 times harder to me. The combat in this game is fun, and I know a lot of people consider that to be the most difficult part, but it really didn't bother me much. I like the combat in this, and it's very much Dark Soulsy-like. I will say though, without that double jump, it puts me in a serious bind in these games to where I almost can't complete them. So I understand why this game is so high on everybody's lists, and the animation and quality of the game is top-notch, almost completely unbeatable in the genre. But not having that one silly ability does me in. I went back and enjoyed a lot of the DLC and checked out a lot of the new areas, and man, this game is top-notch, highest quality out there. So I highly recommend it if you're into Metroidvanias. Check this game out, it will impress and surprise you. There are a lot of cool elements to it, and don't let my one thing hold you back. So number 2 now, Time Spinner. Alright, well let's touch base on Time Spinner. And this game is kinda unique now. It's a little old, it's a little dated. But the best thing this thing has going for me is this game feels more to me like Castlevania than any other game I've played on the Switch, aside from the Castlevanias themselves. This game has so many of the elements of those games, it's not even funny. The map system, the way everything runs, how you use your items for your abilities, how you upgrade and level up, the interactions, side quests, stories. The only thing about this that is negative is that the game is pretty short. You can rush through it in about 6 hours, and you can 100% it in about 10 hours. One of the positive things about this game is the unique combat though. Being able to manipulate your orbs and have different attacks going on and multiple combinations with those orbs in said motion works really well and is a lot of fun. Top of that, you can see that it's very Castlevania-esque, and you can maximize or minimize DPS and set it up to the speed of your weapons. This game, to me, is a true homage to Castlevania, and one of the best games out there that you should try if you really enjoy this genre. It's pretty cheap to download. I know it's expensive physically, but it's worth your money. So, let's do number 1 now. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. This game is amazing. So this game was recommended to me by a few of my viewers, and I'm extremely grateful they did. This game turned into something amazing. I sat down and played this game pretty much from start to finish. This game kept me hooked. The story is great, the combat is great, the world is great, the exploration is great, the upgrades are great, the map is great. There's nothing bad I can say about this game in the least. This game blew my mind. I love every aspect of it. The character herself is quiet. She doesn't say much. She just listens to all the voices in the world that she's trying to heal. The pain you feel from the characters as you're going through and redeeming them is enough to make anybody get emotional. If there's any one single game on this list that I have to recommend above all else, it is Ender Lilies. This game will not disappoint you. This list was a lot of fun to make, and I'm not gonna lie, going back through and trying all these again changed this list drastically for me. I had 3 different drafts of it and 3 different filmings of it, and it took me a long time to put it all together. So this concludes today's lists. Thank you for watching. It was a blast to make. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre 27 Kane, signing out.